Welcome to this new episode of Serial, where I will be looking at pictures taken or edited in the last months. So let's start. Let's continue from last month, and the first two images are taken with one of my favorite cameras through the years, the Pentax QS1, and probably the smallest mirrorless camera and lenses existing right now, with the 0.6 lens. The pictures are not that interesting per se, but I don't know, I think there's something from this camera that's quite different. And that's with the 0.6 lens, basically the zoom lens, which on the right is at its maximal focal length of 249 millimeter. Super compact camera that I will do a video about it. And yeah, I found interesting this arrival by plane on Frankfurt. Still using the same equipment. Here it's the QS1 Pentax. Same lens, small details of Reykjavik. When you have more light, obviously the pictures before were at high ISO, which is basically 12,800 ISO. Here it's way lower. The rendering is great, great camera, and great lenses. Again, a detail of Reykjavik. There is some slight geometrical distortion in those lenses, but it's easily correctable. The 12 megapixel raw file that comes out is really easily correctable using the usual software. And yeah, super interesting camera and set of equipment. Again here with the 0.6 zoom on Hallgrímskirkja, this famous church in Reykjavik. I haven't tried the latest versions of the iPhone or the equivalent Google Pixel with their tele lenses, but I don't think you can, even so the QS1 is based on a cell phone sensor, I don't think you can get that kind of optical and image quality at the end. Again, here it is. This zoom is really super interesting. And it's basically a 69 millimeter to 207 millimeter f2.8 lens. The previous versions of the QS1, which was the Q whatever, all of them are with a slightly smaller sensor, so it's basically the lens becomes an 83 to 249 millimeter. But here it gives you an idea of the quality. Here again, how you can really zoom in and have a very nice rendering with a very pocketable interchangeable lens camera system. Here, for those of you who haven't seen or who have seen my videos about the 28mm Leica classic lenses, the Hektor 28mm f6.3 and the Summaron 28mm f5.6. On the left, that's the Hektor with its very classical rendering, soft. And on the right, that's a TTArtisan 100mm f2.8 Bubble Bokeh, both on the SL2 Leica camera. Leica cameras, it's pretty modern and really good for using all kinds of lenses. And that's in Reykjavik, small details. Again, on the left, that's the QS1. We're going back to that camera. I kind of like the geometrical pattern here with the 0.6 lens. Or also arriving on Hamburg on the picture on the right, that's a sunrise from the airplane. Also, looking at those last months, that was lots of lens testing, and here that's the Leica SL2 again with Bubble Bokeh from TTArtisan on the left. Known for its Bubble Bokeh, but basically when you use it more in a more normal fashion, it's a really great lens to use. Lots of character, not too much, but and a really great rendering, quite classical. And on the right, that's Summaron 28mm f5.6 from Leica, the original one with those weird hollow images in the Reykjavik Marina by night. Here, a comparison, same place, the Bubble Bokeh lens on the SL2 on the left, and I happen to have the QS1 from Pentax and the 0.6 lens adapted to basically the same focal length. And you can really see the difference in rendering from a full frame sensor on the left with this pretty highly qualitative lens, and the QS1 0.6 lens. And I think I will do a video. I think it needs to be talked about. about the difference in sensor or film size. There are some physical traits linked to them that makes it, even when you take a picture at near infinity, and you will have some perspective distortion because of the size of the lens and the sensor or film. So it's definitely not the same rendering. And then there's the lens formula, of course, and lots of other factors coming in. But what you can do with the larger surface, you can't with the smaller one. That's for sure. Here again, the QS1 in low light with its very specific grain and using the using the 06 lens. Here again on the right, that's the 06 lens with the QS1, but on the left, that's the Hektor 28mm. Small details on the left of the city of Reykjavik by night. You will need obviously a modern sensor with good ISO sensitivity. And on the right, that's in a movie theater, a geometrical pattern. I kind of like the QS1 because it's always in my pocket when I have it. Here again, the Hektor 28mm, really a lens I really like a lot. Even so, it's got the defaults, the characteristics of its time, but I like this soft rendering. It's yeah, very nice to me, to my taste. Then we can go to film. I did lots of film last month. That's with a Leica M5, on which I had a Light Lens Lab 50mm speed Pancro lens, which is based on a Cooke optical design. It's a f2.0. And that was using some kind of, well, new, it's not that new anymore, but the Lomochrome Color 92 400 ISO film. I think it's a good combination. Very different results, but nice. I usually take a long time to test my new equipment. So by the time I test it, even so I get them relatively early, they're kind of already been talked about by so many people that you probably know about them. Same equipment here. The two pictures before were in Geneva. These are in Milan. Same equipment. Nice for street and candid photography. I like the kind of old school look of the lens combined to this lens. Two more example of this combination. I'll be doing a video about Lomochrome Color 92 film in the future. I'm testing it with many cameras and lenses. So, and yeah, really interesting rendering. It's nice to have those new films on our technical palette. Here it's still Milan, but using quite a small 6x6 medium format camera from the old times, which is the Ferrania Elioflex camera. It's a non-foldable camera, but it's still very compact. It's a little bit like a Rolleiflex, has two lenses. One is used to frame your subject, and the other one is obviously the one that takes the picture. It's got a square diaphragm and shutter, so it can give some different kind of look to its pictures. And here, that's the first model, so I think it's an f8.0 lens, aperture lens, and that was using Ilford Orto plus 80 ISO film. It's 120 film, obviously. Also here, that's also film, but that's an expired Vista 100 Agfa film. I don't exactly know from what time it was, and that's used on a Minox 35mm. The picture on the left, I'm not sure why I took the picture, but on the right, that's part of my volcano expedition. If you've seen or haven't seen, there's a video about the end of the volcano, the latest volcano in Iceland, where I went for a photo trip on the last day of the volcano. And yeah, some light leaks, but interesting results. Again, the same film. It's very contrasty. I obviously didn't compensate enough for the exposition, but not really sure. And yeah, it was also an experience with a Minox 35mm. The picture on the right is obviously messed up, but I kind of liked the rendering, so I put it here. Also that volcano expedition, here there's a few pictures with the Hasselblad Expand 2 camera using Kodak Pro Image 100 film. It's a film I really love. It's my go-to film. I think people don't talk about it enough. It's very robust in highlights and lowlights, super stable in weird temperature and humidity conditions. And yeah, the rendering's great, very fine grain. Here's a good example with this volcano, last day of the volcano on the right. Here again, some older volcanoes on my way to the volcano pictures. Go check the video if you want to see more from that trip. And here another one, really great film stock that I would love to see come back in 120 format film, but it used to exist, doesn't anymore. Hopefully will come back. Here again, I also put some pictures just to compare the film stock. On the 3 pictures on the left, it's Kodak Pro Image 100 with this, just enough warmth, lots of detail, good resistance to, as I said, low lights, highlights. And on the right, that's with this new Lomochrome Color 92 film, same camera, same trip, a little bit more bluish, stronger grain and contrast. Not as versatile, I'll say, than the Pro Image 100. Also, during that trip, I had a Minox 35mm ML camera with leader film from Washi, a 12 ISO black and white film. Some light leak probably from the canister on the left, a little bit on the right, but this very contrasty film that really gives an ambiance to the results. Also, that was a month, last month was a month where I tested some weird equipment. Here it's, I was basically testing a lens I had for a while, a 400mm f5.6 Pentax 6.7 medium format lens. It's pretty cheap, secondhand. It's pretty big too, it's actually very big. And that's on a medium format Leica SL2 camera. Really like the precise rendering, soft bokeh. Again, 2 pictures. Detail of the roofs, you can really see on the left the softness of that bokeh, but the precision that you can see on the right of the details, and those pictures were in Geneva. I was testing this lens out. It's very cumbersome. It's really a big lens. Go check it online, but I'm preparing something, some video with it. And here, last 2 pictures for the month. That's using the newer version of this 6x6 camera I talked about, and I showed 2 pictures from Milan. That's the Elioflex 2, slightly improved lens. It's an f6.3, I believe. And that's with expired Ilford FP4 film that was inside the camera and still unused. Probably for 40 years old, I'd guess. Maybe more. And that's the picture on the right, that's the Jura Mountains from the Geneva countryside west of Switzerland, and on the left that's a nighttime long exposure, which I kind of like the rendering in the streets of Geneva. So yeah, so here it is. If you have questions, suggestions, comments, don't hesitate. It's always interesting to have some feedback from you, and hopefully that was enjoyable, and catch you next time.